Hi, Adam.
Hey Ed, how are you? The computer's been so slow today.
Hi, Adam.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing today?
Good. My computer's so slow.
Yeah, mine was kind of slow a little bit. What company you on?
Um, I don't know. I'm in an apartment, so I don't know which provider they have.
Okay. Mine's usually pretty good.
Yeah, are you on 9 Star?
No, I'm on Spectrum.
Oh, okay.
I wish we had something other than Spectrum.
Yeah.
I can ask you a question now, probably resolve it. How's come we're having to reimburse Core for them printing expenses?
It's pretty typical as part of the contract with the consultant that there's some add-on surcharges for printing.
Okay, I didn't know whether I thought maybe that'd be figured into their contract.
Yeah, I mean, you'd think at 90 grand that would have been enough, but
Yeah. Okay, so
I
they
know for newer contracts that come in, I try to chew them down and not pay for stuff like that.
yeah. Um, they've paid them and we're reimbursing them, right?
Right.
Okay. Well, I just wondered. I just figured that was part of their contract.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm an outsider looking in too.
Sure.
I guess if I was a company doing that type of work, I'd want to get reimbursed too.
Yeah. It's understandable.
That seems like a lot, but I guess that's pretty fancy signs.
Yeah, they are. I haven't seen it yet. I think it's been posted.
Okay. So it's something they're going to post on a billboard there on Main Street.
Yes.
Okay. So how's things going with you?
Good. Keeping busy.
That's good.
Yeah, we've got a bunch of new permits that are on there.
So have we already bought the property for up there at the stoplight?
Not yet. Still being processed.
Okay.
Um, Scott signed the paperwork,
Right.
so I don't know when the closing date is. Joe would know.
So we have to authorize that, or has it already been authorized?
Scott's signature has already been authorized, so at this point,
Right.
um,
So that's all is needed to close the deal.
correct.
Okay. Then at that point, we got to take care of mowing the grass and taking care of the property until we decide what to do with it, right?
That's correct.
I'm sorry to ask you all on questions. It's just, you know,
Not a problem at all. That's what I'm here for.
well, sometimes they may be stupid, but
No, no such thing.
so now like that money that we get each year from the tax increment from the county,
Hmm.
is that twice a year?
Yes.
Okay.
And the exciting news is that, and I'll share this with the group, is that Buzz Crone, our accountant, is projecting that next year we will potentially double the amount of income that we're receiving. So in 2020, it was just shy of 500,000. And in 20, well, I'm sorry, in 2020, it was just shy of 500,000. In 2021, it could be close to 900,000.
Okay. Now that's for a half.
That's total.
Okay. So this number that's on this report is for a year, right? This 498,000.
That's correct.
Okay. Okay. So we get about 250 a half.
Correct.
Okay.
But this year, when the money comes in June, it could be more like 450,000
Okay.
for
Good.
that half increment.
All right. Talk later. Thank you.
Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Cheyenne.
Hi.
I've never met you, Jennifer. I think traded a few emails.
Oh, I think she's on mute.
I'm sorry.
There we go.
Yeah.
Nice to see you. I know, I wish we could all be together doing this, but
Soon. I just got my shot at IMS today. I'm not growing horns or anything yet, so
good.
very quick too.
You got it today?
Yeah, and I was in and out in 15 minutes, which I think they're supposed to make you wait 15 minutes, but I still feel okay. My arm is sore, but yeah,
Yeah.
I got it at like four today.
Yeah. Where'd you get it at?
The Speedway.
Oh, okay.
So like
Yeah,
drive all in and
I got mine,
Yeah.
I think the first one a couple weeks ago at Hancock County Health Department. And,
yeah.
I'm supposed to get that second one on May 5th. But same thing. Like, it was
Yeah.
funny because the nurse put the shot in my arm, and then it dawned on me after she gave it to me. I said, "Hey, by the way, are there any side effects with this?" She said, "Oh yeah, you might feel sick. You might have a low grade fever, basically COVID symptoms. And I said, oh, but what are the odds of that? And I'm thinking like really low. She's like, oh, about 50-50. I was like, oh, okay. I guess I didn't realize that, but knock on wood. I mean, I didn't have any problems. So
Me and my wife had our Pfizer. We had 2 shots at the Hancock County Hospital. It was simple in and out. And the only thing we had is real soreness in our arm
yeah,
Yeah.
about a day, about like the flu shot.
yeah, exactly.
My daughter has had both doses. She is a CNA and works at a nursing home here in Carmel, and she's had both doses. And the only thing she really had with the second one is she was really tired the next day.
Well, I'm tired all the time.
I know, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, they give you all these symptoms if you had it, of COVID. And I said, well, I'm not 90% of them I got, tired, my joints hurt. And then there's Scott. Scott is a perfect human being.
Yeah, that's exact.
The open door law. And so the way that the open door law is written now, it doesn't accommodate this. What we have is a Zoom, all of you RDC members or council members or plan commission, BZA, so on and so forth, that getting together digitally like this is not a public meeting. And the only reason that we're allowed to do this now is through the governor's executive order, where there's been an exception made for COVID. And so for these Zoom meetings to continue, at least for you guys to take final action as a governmental entity, and a board of a governmental entity, we'd need a change in the law. And I don't think that there's anything that is coming through this session that would do that. So that's going to be the issue. I do agree with the comments that having at least the ability for public to view the meetings via Zoom or YouTube TV or whatever, and ask questions and whatnot, that's a great way to allow more of the public to participate in government. But for you all who have votes and have to take final action until there's a change in the open door law, eventually here, we're going to have to get back together in person.
I have no problem either way with it, really.
Well, and I think, unless there's some open discussion we have to have about it, I think we're just going to have to do it next month, starting next month.
That's fine. It's fine with me.
Alex, do you know if they if the governor extended the order into May, or does it expire at the end of April?
Expires at the end of April, but if at least I checked last week, if he does what he's done the entire pandemic, it'll be a few days. It'll be next week, late next week, before he extends, or actually the week after. So the week of am I in the right month on my calendar? The week of the 26th, so that last week of May. I mean, if he's going to extend, I would see it happening then. Who knows? I mean, fortunately, the numbers seem to be getting better and kind of holding steady. Lots of people are getting their vaccinations, and so we'll see.
All right. Well, I believe we've got everybody here, so I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order at 6:31. Is Missy on?
She
Okay.
won't be. That reminds me, Alex, would you be so kind as to jot down a few notes? Thank you.
Alex, would you mind calling roll, please, sir? I know, I'm sorry.
Scott,
Present.
Ed,
Here?
Amy,
Here.
Kevin,
Here.
Jennifer.
Here.
All right. I think I covered everybody. Did I not?
No, me. Cheyenne is here. Am I still
Oh,
on this?
You are. I thought I said Cheyenne. I'm sorry, Cheyenne.
No, you're fine.
All right, so we do have a quorum. Of course, as we've done in the past, we don't do the Pledge of Allegiance for Zoom calls. So we'll start with the minutes. Whether or not there's any discussion. If there's no discussion, I'll look for a motion.
I make a motion that we accept the minutes as written.
I need a
I'll
second.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? I believe that's unanimous. Alex? New business. Consider approving the 2020 RDC annual report. Do we have any discussion, questions from the board or comments? Adam, anything we need from you on this?
Sure. Jennifer Walker has been gracious to join us on this call. She helped prepare or prepared the actual report itself. She works with O.W. Crone at Buzz's office. So if you have any questions on the report, she'd be happy to answer them, and I'm sure I can as well to a degree.
I would just like to say, it looks like you guys have had some really steady growth in the area. Captured AV is continuing to grow. In 2020, it looked like that was about 17.6 million. And the 2021 reports are looking like that's going to almost double again to 30.5 million. So your pay 21 captured that your increment that you should get should be between 850 and 900,000 this year. That's if everybody pays their taxes.
Well, for that kind of money, we'll find them.
And then the debt that you had that you were making payments on has matured on January 15th of 2020. So you currently have no outstanding debt pledged with TIF.
Right, yeah, that was all resolved. Yeah, okay. So the debt service, that's what we paid last year. And that takes care of everything. We don't have anything else.
Correct, yeah. If you look at the following page there, the balance outstanding at the end of 2020 was 0.
Right. I'll start with Ed. Anything?
No, not really, other than the county's preparation of the partial list. It's kind of confusing that all of them are marked residential, and there is residential in this printout.
The R stands for real. It would either be an R or a P for real or personal.
Okay.
But and Adam, didn't we have the list the prior year where we had some errors that had to be corrected?
Right.
Because there was some residential in there, but it ended up getting zeroed out. I thought this list still contained some personal property of individuals, not commercial, but it was being ignored. Is that not the case anymore?
Right. Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's still on the radar to get that fixed, but it doesn't have a negative impact on your numbers. So honestly, it hasn't been a high priority, but we do need to get that done at some point.
So to clarify, the R means real.
Yeah, real property as opposed to personal property.
Okay, then the amount that we get is everything added up except everything added up in the increment of value.
Correct.
Okay, and then
Yeah, the last column there.
yeah, then that's multiplied or divided or multiplied by our tax rate for our, okay.
Per 100 of net assessed value, correct.
Right.
And I'm sorry, Jennifer, you anticipated the total annual for us this year is going to be 8 something?
850 to 900. Yeah, based on the 30.5 incremental AV that we're seeing on this parcel report from the county.
Okay.
So now, all our tax increments that we get as the RDC is supposed to be industrial and rental properties that's for business, right?
It would be any commercial or industrial property, yes. And then your 2% caps, which would be your rentals, apartments.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Amy?
I don't have any questions, but Ed, thank you for your questions.
Okay.
They're helpful and clarifying. I like it.
Well, I like to be informed.
Cheyenne?
I do not have any comment either, but I again appreciate Ed. I think it helps us all, and if there were lay people at the meeting as well.
Absolutely. And then Kevin?
No, no questions.
Okay. With that, I don't have any questions. Jennifer, I appreciate your time. So I'll look for a motion to approve that so those can get submitted this evening.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, Alex, you can take your pick on that. All in favor?
Cheyenne wins.
Got it.
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Alex is just kissing up to Cheyenne because he missed her. Okay, so we're good there. We've taken care of that. There's no old business. Review of financials. Did we have anything to discuss there? I don't think we had any financials this time around, did we? In that list, was there? I don't miss it. Oh,
So we're just holding the VFW and the Fox Gardens money at this point until we know if we need that, or is that the amount that they have to put in no matter what? I thought that was the contingent.
that's right, isn't it, Adam? We're holding the contingent money.
That's right. Only the contingency. So,
Okay, so we'll
If
pay
things
that
like-
back if we don't need it.
correct.
Okay.
We could, no. So the money that they put in was part of their contribution. So in the financials, I'm going to scroll down to it here in a second. The line items for the commitments of the 11,530 and 5,730 that the RDC has pledged, that is contingency money.
And it's just earmarked. It's not been, there's no checks written. It's just what we've earmarked for those projects if it's needed.
If it's needed, correct.
And then once those projects are complete, if we use just a little bit of the money, then it just goes back into available.
Oh,
funds.
I saw the line item where it, maybe I'm on a different form, where they paid their 2,000 into us.
Right.
Yeah, they won't receive that money back. That was their,
I thought that was their part of the contingency. Their original part was the 500, right?
Yes. It was 500 and something, I think. Wasn't it, Scott?
Yeah, initially they put up the 500 to get involved. And then through our meeting, we asked them to pony up a total of 2,000 or 2,500. And then we would cover the rest for the contingent money.
right.
I don't know that their funds, any of that money, some or all of it may be used and maybe not.
And I think it was what they were basically paying for is the architect.
Is what?
They were basically contributing towards the architect design services.
Okay, so their money is going to be used.
Correct.
Then we've got the extra set aside for them.
That's correct. And then the rest will come out of the.
Okay, so
The
they
commitment
put in
we-
that 2,000 and no matter what that's spent. And then then we would cover the whole contingency.
the remaining of it. Up to that, but I mean, that's the maximum
Up to
dollar
that.
amount, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right. The remaining of what we agreed to.
Yeah,
Correct.
if it's
Pretty
used.
Okay.
Well, what was this 530 some dollars that we talked about when we set this up, Adam. That number comes to my mind that each one of them was, I'm like Amy, I think each one of them was giving 500 and something. Am I right, Kevin? You kind of set that up.
It seemed like they had to write a check for 500 as a commitment.
Right.
Yeah, I believe Scott was right. I believe the discussion was a total of 2,500 per participant. So it would have been the 2,000 plus the original 500.
Okay. I
As
was
I
a little,
recall.
I was confused, a little confused about that in the beginning, but they put $500 to get the process started. I'm just using round numbers, and then it amounted to 2,500 total for each one of them.
Right, because they came to, they
Right.
presented their 500 to be, as a commitment to be involved.
Okay,
And then one entity backed out.
right.
They got their 500 back. And then when Fox Garden and the V approached us about their participation level, we were originally, the original plan was they were going to pay it all. And they both acknowledged that they did not have the ability to do that. We as a committee agreed to cover them. We asked them to pay $2 more grand, and then the RDC would cover the rest.
Okay, so their commitment to the facade project was approximately $2,500 each.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Thank you, Amy. I kind of cleared that up for me too.
Okay, so is there any other discussion on the financials? If not, I'm looking for a motion or any other questions.
I'll make a motion to approve the financials.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And a comment, I'm glad they put the cents on it.
So now that you have sense, you're happy?
Yeah, I wasn't there before.
Yeah, you could take that a couple different ways, Ed.
I'm an old farm boy. I count all the pennies.
Well, I'm just glad you have sense now.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, approval of invoices. We have 2 of them. Are there any questions, discussions about the invoices?
Well, I had one, I talked to Adam prior to about it, the core planning strategy. I see we're reimbursing them for some printing expenses. And in my mind, I thought that should have been covered under their contract. And Adam says it's not, so.
Yeah, and I actually had kind of the same question, Adam, is when we had discussions about those boards being posted, the awareness, big posters they put up on the street. I thought Joe's comment was that there was money in the budget for that. So I didn't realize that was a separate line item. So that the money for that wasn't earmarked anywhere else. We just have to bring it out of our budget.
Correct. We could have used some stellar money that we had for marketing or communications, but that money can go. There are plenty of other initiatives along Main Street for marketing businesses. In fact, I had a meeting about that today where they'll be spending that stellar money.
Okay. I mean, I think we would all agree we want to do our share, but I don't remember having discussions about these additional costs for the printing and the graphics and all that. I mean, the signs and all that. I didn't know that fell on us. Anybody else?
Well, that's kind of how I feel about it, but
Okay, so I mean,
if it's money due to them for what they've done, I guess that's fair, but seems like to me on a project of this magnitude, they would absorb that cost.
well, I don't know that, I don't think I see eye to eye with you on that, Ed, but I think I'm just concerned as to how we ended up with a sizable printing bill without being aware of it.
Yes.
One of them's 800, the other one is 400. I mean, it's $1,200. It's not going to break the bank, but from my perspective, I've been on here 2 years, and I don't know how we ended up with this bill is what I'm confused about, quite honestly. If it's something we committed to at some point, I just forget, I can accept that.
If you want to take it out of that marketing line item that we had, remember how we set that up a number of years ago? We've got, I think there was $5,000 that was pledged, and we had only spent maybe 1,000 of that. If you want to deduct it from that pledge, that'd be fine, because I don't have anything that I'm planning on doing.
Yeah, I think we got 393 or $3,983 in the marketing fund.
And I think, well, I'll leave it to you guys to discuss before I express my opinion. Amy, Cheyenne, Kevin, what do you guys think?
I mean, moving forward, we can make sure that CORE knows that we want to see, obviously the project started and they needed these signs that we had all talked about. And I'm sure we talked to the businesses about it, that they were going to be there to help. But moving forward, making sure that those go by us before we get just a bill to pay, but approving the amount that they're going to use and whatnot.
Yeah, I feel like for this time around, like, okay, this happened, but I agree that, I think that we talked about signs, but not how much they cost. We didn't really pre-approve a certain amount for the signs. So I think we pay it this time. And then like Cheyenne said, I agree to kind of say like, hey, core planning, like, can we, like, we at least want to, if we're going to add something, let's have an estimate before you spend the money.
Okay. Adam, is that reasonable?
It's up to you.
Well, I mean, I think we're all saying the same thing. It's just that we're sitting here with a $1,200 bill that I don't think we were aware we were going to get. And
Well, I understand that. My opinion is, for what it's worth, is, I mean, you've got $1.2 million. I mean, I'm not trying to be glib, but if we were talking $12,000, that's an issue. We're talking 1,200. I mean, if it was something that, really gave you a lot of consternation over $1,200, then I think Joe would just submit it to council and take it out of the general fund. So,
well, I don't think we're looking at that. I think the issue is that, I mean, at what point do we not be concerned about it? Is it 1,200? Is it 1,500, 2,500, 3,005? The idea is that I don't think it's the bill. I don't think it's the dollar amount of the bill. It's just, actually it is the bill, not the dollar amount, that we're being presented with something I don't remember ever hearing about before. I have no issue from my perspective, and I'm not the only person to vote. I have no issue paying it. I just have an issue with how did we get here without knowing we were going to be asked to pay it. That makes sense.
I feel like if we were presented with this cost up front, the amount shown is within reason for what we got in return. So I don't have a problem with paying it. I understand I'm on board with everybody else as far as I would like to seen it ahead of time. But I think that, Scott, if this was an amount that, we looked at and went, there's no possible way that we would have approved this, beforehand, then I'd have more reservation, but I'm okay with paying it. Yeah, I think the amount is justified for what we got.
All right. I think the idea of taking it out of that marketing line item, because that's what it's for, marketing to the public, what's going on. That would be my interest level and where I think it should come from. But again, it's not just me, it's all five of us. So if there's no other discussion, I'm looking for a motion that would include the marketing line item or not, whatever you feel is best.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
are there any things that we wouldn't be allowed to pay for extra for this project that would have to come out of marketing that like we wouldn't be allowed to pay that bill, or does that make sense?
I think it's
Like,
just,
are we draining one budget that like would be something that we couldn't pay for later, or does it, I mean, does it really matter? I guess is my question.
I don't think it matters.
Okay,
I can't anticipate there would be anything that we would need for the Main Street project additionally that you might want to earmark money for. And again, at the end of the day, you don't need to put the bill. I mean, the council does have a general fund, so at some point you could say, well, that should come out of general fund if the money's there.
well, I think if we all felt strongly about it, we might push back more.
Yeah.
Again, I think we're all saying the same thing. It's just, it's curious as to how we end up with the bill when we never heard anything about it. That's the only concern, not the dollar.
So let me understand this now. We're gonna pay this bill, but that $1,200 is gonna come out of marketing instead of our RDC fund.
Well, it's all RDC money,
Okay,
but instead of depleting another line item or just taking money out of RDC general money, and it's 6 1/2 dozen of the other. It's where it falls in the line item. We have this line item titled marketing, and that's where I would like to see it come from, because there's just money sitting there that probably won't be used for anything else, and we'll have to close that out at some point. Or
if
you get
that
the
money
market.
isn't used, does it come back to our regular account?
But yeah, at the end,
So
of,
it really doesn't matter at all.
no, it's not. It's just a matter of where it's falling in the line items.
Okay.
And think of it as, those separate line items that you see, it's not as if they're separate accounts. Think of it as they're pledges that you've made, that RDC then in the past have made for various initiatives. And all that liabilities spreadsheet does is keep track of all those pledges so
Okay.
that you don't overextend yourself.
Yeah, it's all coming from the same place.
so how do we make this motion?
To pay the bill out of the marketing line item, pay the bills out of the marketing line item.
Yeah.
The total bill?
No, just the signs.
So
The two-
we have
the two
to-
bills.
So I'll make a motion to pay both of the bills. The 2 line items for the signs will come out of the marketing line item
And,
budget.
and Crone, we just pay like we normally do.
Okay, cool. Does that work?
Well, there's 3 items on the core bill though.
Correct.
Right, but only 2 of them. My motion is for only the 2 signs to go toward from the marketing line. The other one would go from our general budget for core planning like we always pay.
So the repro
Yeah.
graphic invoices.
Okay,
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Aye. That sounds unanimous. Okay. Let me get back to my agenda. So that's all the invoices. The only thing we have left is public comment. I don't know if we have any public that wants to comment. I don't see any activity. Staff comments?
Nothing from me. So then for next month's meeting, are we going to do in person and Zoom or just in person?
Well, I personally would like to go to in person, but I think it's fair to say that depending on Alex's comments, that we have an accommodation for someone. And I think we've had this discussion before with special needs that can't physically attend the meeting. And I think at this point is, again, if Alex is in agreement with it, that if it's someone high risk that's still concerned about COVID, they can still attend, whether it's a committee member or a public, they can attend via Zoom but I think the rest of us need to be in person.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming that it just all comes down to a quorum or not. You couldn't have a quorum via Zoom unless that order is extended into May. But let's just assume for sake of argument that it isn't, and that you want to return to normal. I would think you just couldn't have 3 members attending remotely.
You're
Alex?
right, Adam. No, Adam's right. That it comes down to quorum. The other members could participate in the meeting, but just can't vote and they don't count towards quorum.
Okay.
And part of it, one thing that makes, or maybe makes Adam's job a little easier on whether to send out a Zoom link or not, with my engagement for this year with the town, for RDC, Plan Commission, BZA, you loop your lawyer in via Zoom or we've done FaceTime before too. But if it's easier for Zoom, I mean, so we'll have some sort of option there, and for what it's worth.
Adam, how will we communicate Zoom if we're in our public meeting?
Well, we have a camera, and we do have the ability to patch that through Zoom. So
you'd have a screen that you'd have the Zoom people on in?
yeah, and then we do have a television screen. I don't know if you all saw it. It's been a long time actually since you've been in that building. But yeah, we've got a flat screen TV that's connected to the internet. So it's a nice setup now.
I think we did some sort of a hybrid meeting toward the beginning of the pandemic too. The sound was all messed up, but we survived.
Yeah, we've got that all fixed now. So
Cool.
It'll be really easy. So I'm just real quick, Alex, I'm just curious. So if you had, let's say you had 2 RDC members, so not a quorum, attended via Zoom, can they still vote or not?
If the governor doesn't extend the executive order and we're back to just regular old Indiana law, they cannot vote. So we would need 3 RDC members live and in the flesh. Pastor Phil, you don't count towards that. So 3 voting members live at the meeting in order to have a quorum and take any action.
Okay, so
now that,
go ahead, Alex.
I was gonna say the 2 members that were participating via Zoom or calling in, they can ask questions, they can give their opinion. They just don't count towards quorum and cannot vote.
Okay, so let me pose this question. Ed, do you have any issue meeting in person next month?
No.
Amy?
I will try to make it work.
Cheyenne?
I can be there.
Kevin?
I'll be there.
Okay. So based on today's agenda, assuming whether or not the governor passes, extends that, are you guys as a group, and I'm asking the committee members, are you all okay with the decision to just plan on meeting next month in person?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Alex, with that thought in mind, is it necessary for us to have the Zoom component available for handicap, those people that cannot attend in person?
No, it would just be, it is not required. It's just an amenity for all the things that you've talked about, of whether to provide people that option if they don't feel comfortable or just can't make it, can't find a sitter for those of us with young kids, those types of things. But it's not a requirement.
Okay.
I think we just go back to our regular meetings and forget about the Zoom. Of course, Alex, I understand your point too. You could be Zooming on the 3 or the other board meetings other than the town board rather than be there.
Yeah, and sometimes, I mean, Adam, we've done it, I think, for RDC as well. Sometimes he just calls me and I'm just there, I'm just listening, and that's worked out fine too. I mean,
right.
As you guys know, it's the best meetings when I don't have a whole lot to say.
Yeah.
I say, I mean, I don't think that I know it was a little sketchy when we did it the first few times, but it sounds like they have it kind of better set up, and given the fact that we're still not 100% vaccinated and et cetera, it might be a good option for the first few rounds and see how it works with the new setup and
But
just
but
general
only for,
accessibility.
but only for the public.
Yeah.
As a committee,
mean,
we've all agreed
Mhm.
we're going to be there.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so-
Yes.
Ed doesn't feel the need for it. Cheyenne does. Amy?
I don't think it's much more effort to just add it, right? I mean, we just put a
Well,
link up. So I think we just do it just because we can.
Because we're really nice people.
Because we can, like, why
Yeah.
not? You know, I think, local government, not that many people really participate in it. So if we have an opportunity to extend our reach and have more people participate, then let's make it as accessible as possible.
So
All right.
think out of the box and and see if it works.
I mean, if no one ever attends, then we stop doing it. But I think, or we do it by
We
request
can't stop
only.
doing it. We got a
I
bunch
guess.
of money to spend.
No,
No, I mean,
no.
stop doing the Zoom.
I know.
Like-
Kevin? Kevin, any comments?
Nope.
Okay. So,
I-
Alex,
one-
yeah, go ahead.
One of
Alex.
the, I was gonna say, and we've all been in various teams and Zoom meetings over the last year. And one way I've seen other municipalities, as well as like the Alcohol Tobacco Commission, run meetings where you can view the meeting. So you get an invite, but you're not able to unmute yourself and talk. So that could be, I don't know if Adam's smart and tech savvy, so I'm sure he could figure that out. But that's another way to at least allow public to view and see your faces and see what's going on, but also minimize the disruption factor of somebody just going off mute and jumping in and talking,
Okay.
for what it's worth.
Well, everybody loves the opportunity to see Pastor Phil on the screen. So, let's go with the comments. And Adam, if you don't mind setting up next week, next meeting will be in person with the option to view it via Zoom. Is that okay? All right.
Sorry, I was a little late, guys. I thought it was 7 o'clock. My bad.
We'll deduct it from your pay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was it. Is that it for staff comments there, Mr. Z? All right, any other board comments? All right, I am looking for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
At what time? 7:06.
Ooh, 7:06.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I didn't think so. Thank you all for participating. Have a great week.
Thanks,
Have a
Jennifer.
great week.
Thank you.
See you all
Bye.
next time.
Bye-bye.